I'm Paco Hope, co-author of the Web Security Testing Cookbook. This is another in my series of videos that tries to demonstrate the techniques in the recipes so that you can learn how to apply them to your own web applications. I hope you enjoy it. Now, I gotta give a shout out to my friends here at Zynga, who are making great games for Facebook, MySpace, and a bunch of other social networking sites. I'm picking on them for the second time, showing you how you can cheat at a different one of their Facebook games. Don't get the idea that the guys at Zynga make bad games. They actually make great games, but the mistakes that you're gonna see that they fall prey to are representative of the industry at large. So the game we're gonna look at today is called WordTwist. In WordTwist, you're given 6 or 7 letters, and you have to make as many different words as you can from those letters in a certain period of time. The more words you make, the more points you get. Here we go, I'm playing it, and I'm just going to type, chides, hides, you get a few different words, and I earn some points. Now, wouldn't it be a whole lot easier if you knew all the words in advance? Yeah, it would. And what we're going to discover is that, in fact, you can get all the words in advance. Before we get started, we're obviously going to need a few tools, and all of these are free for you to download. First, there's Firefox, our web browser of choice. You can get it from Mozilla.com. Next, you need Firebug, which is one of the most useful add-ons for Firefox. You can get it from addons.mozilla.org. Cal 9000 is a conversion project from the Open Web Application Security Project, OWASP. And it'll convert from almost any kind of data that you're going to find on the web back and forth. It's a really useful little tool. Finally, you need any text editor. You could do this with Notepad, you could do it with TextEdit on a Mac. I use TextMate from macromates.com, but anything will do. So here's our WordTwist game board. The most important thing to see, the most important thing to realize is this middle section where it says WordTwist Ladder. This is a Flash application. If I right-click, I see About Adobe Flash Player. So that's a totally separate program that's embedded inside my web browser. It takes parameters and it can make its own decisions and execute its own instructions. And it's those instructions that we're going to interfere with. Now, because it's a Flash application, there's a bunch of things that we can't do in a straightforward manner that we might try to do in an old Web 1.0 application. You can't just view source or do a view source chart or save it to your local hard disk and then mess around with the parameters. We're going to actually have to mess around with it again with Firebug. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to do recipe 3.1 and we're going to view the HTML source. I right-click, I go to View Page Source, and we'll see the HTML that was sent to my browser. Now, if that Flash applet was encoded in this HTML somewhere, we would be able to find a tag called embed. And I'm searching for it, but I'm not finding it. So what that means is this applet, this Flash applet for the game, came to us some other way. So we're going to have to use some other technique to find it. Let's try it from another angle. We'll use recipe 3-2 to do advanced source viewing. We're going to do View Source Chart using the View Source Chart add-on to Firefox. You can see it gives us a separate tab there with the source chart. Again, we're looking for this embed tag. We're looking for the game. We want to find the game in here and be able to manipulate its parameters. So here's the source code as View Source Chart sees it, which is interesting because it's slightly more advanced. Now I'm going to go search for embed again, and this time we actually find something. So we found a few little things, but we haven't found the game we're looking for. The game is not here. It's some soundplayer.swf. So we're still not there. So this is why we reach out to Firebug. Firebug is much more powerful. So the recipe that's actually going to work is recipe 3.9, modifying specific element attributes. I'm going to go to Firebug, and this time in a new window. It makes it bigger and easier to work with. When that window opens up, I make sure the HTML tab is selected at the top, and I click on the Inspect button. The Inspect button brings me back to my web browser, and my web browser lets me click on something I want to inspect. Now remember the embed tag? It was an embed tag that we were looking for last time and we couldn't find it. Well, Firebug sees everything as it's rendered after the JavaScript is executed and after everything has happened inside the application. Now, from a security point of view, this is a jackpot. Look at this. We've got variables named board6 equal something, solutions6 equals something, board7 equals something, solution7 equals something. Obviously, if we could just figure out what the solutions set was, then we'd be able to win the game just by reading the solutions out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy all this. I just right-click and I say copy HTML, and we're going to paste it into our text editor. Okay, so here's my TextMate window, and I'm going to right-click and choose Paste to paste that HTML in. Now, to be fair, I actually took a few things out so that we could just, focus in on the things we're interested in. And here's the solution 6 line. That's the one I want. And I'm going to copy it because our next step is to paste it into Cal 9000 and decode it so that we can see the answers to this game. When Cal 9000 first comes up, this is what it looks like. So I need to go over to the Encode Decode button to bring up the Encode Decode window. It has two boxes labeled Plain Text and Encoded Text, and that's what we'll use. So here's our last step. We've got that information in our copy buffer, so we take it and paste it into the encoded text pane here in Cal 9000. Then, because it's not just straight base 64 encoded, even though it kind of looks like it, it's actually been URL encoded first. So we need to come over here and decode it with URL decoding. And that gets us a decoded version up in the plain text box that we're going to have to copy and paste back down into the encoded text box. This is an important aspect of this recipe, which is that many times data is multiply encoded. So I take that URL decoded text and I paste it in the encoded text box. Now I have to go down and choose base 64 decoding. And when I base 64 decode it, we have the grand reveal. Move up to the top and let's look. Oh hey, there's a bunch of comma-separated words. Now I know all the words that are the answers to this game before I ever click the button. So here I go to play the game. I've got my words open in my other window, and I click the Play 6 Letters button. Now we know what the answers are, because I just saw them. So now all I have to do is just type in the right answers, and hey, looks like I'm going to have a pretty good score. So there's two morals to this story. The first is that a couple rounds of encoding doesn't do much to hide data. And secondly, don't send data to the web browser if you don't want the players or the users to see that data. It's a classic mistake, and it doesn't take much to see what you've actually hidden there. You'll find these sorts of mistakes in lots of different web applications, where data that should not be seen is actually sent to the web browser, but it's just hidden in a little bit, just a couple little rounds of encoding or something like that. So be on the lookout for it and apply these recipes. So I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration, and I hope these techniques help you do better web security testing. Look for more videos like this at websecuritytesting.com.